Matrix, Willie Miranda.
Jailene Fontaine has communicated with animals in the natural world since childhood, using her intuitive gifts to support and guide the animals who came into her life. Early on, these animals became her teachers, with horses emerging as her lifelong passion. She later trained at a large horse show facility, integrating her communication abilities into the daily care and training. Over time, Jailene developed a holistic approach to animals' wellness, focusing on the whole being. Her work incorporates organic nutrition, targeted supplementation, energetic balancing, and the spiritual healing, drawing on her knowledge of essential oils, herbs, chelated vitamins, and minerals. She creates individualized healing paths for animals of all sizes and species. Witnessing profound results led her to dedicate her work fully to support animals on every level of their well-being. And I'd like to welcome to the Paradigm Matrix, Jailene Fontaine. Jailene, how are you?
Hi, Willie. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for asking me.
I think it's been a long time.
It
I think
has.
the last time you were on was with me and KCOR.
That's correct. And that was a while ago.
Yes, yes. And since then, you have moved. I believe you moved to Virginia, correct?
I have. I'm living in Virginia, Southwest Virginia. And honestly, Willie, I just get tired of shoveling snow in New Hampshire.
Yes, I hear
So,
that.
yeah, one of the benefits of living here is that when it snows, it's minimal compared to what I grew up with in New England. So it's really been lovely.
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. You know, it's went to Kentucky a few years ago, and they told me the same thing. The snow it does snow, but it doesn't last long. It
Not
melts the
at
next
all.
day.
Not at all.
Yes, yes. It's one of those advantages, and I believe you probably get a longer summer, correct?
Oh, yes. Well, it started, in May, we started getting 80-degree days.
Oh
So,
wow,
yeah.
wow. Jailene, can you go into how you started communicating with animals?
My first memory of it was when I was by myself in the woods, and I really didn't think a lot about it at the time. But each and every time I used to go into the woods, animals would find me and they would just show up. I remember one time there was a skunk that showed up. Another time there was a raccoon. Several times I had deer show up. And each time they would show, I would just sit down and they would stay around me. And I could hear them in my head. Um, I didn't realize that at the time that not everybody could do it. I assumed that everybody could. And so when I shared these conversations, I got some strange looks. So I decided to just keep it to myself and enjoy it. And the animals continued to come. And I learned a lot from them. And I helped them with wounds or anything that they might have had. If they would let me, I always asked. And if they would let me, then I would help them out in that way. So, and it's never stopped. It's never
It's
stopped.
amazing,
Thank
amazing.
you.
Do you believe, or do you feel like animals are empath?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, their language is based in love and empathy and compassion. And um, if you meet them in that place, your heart expands, your knowledge expands. Um, and another great thing about that is that once they know that you're capable of doing that, all of a sudden other animals will start to show up. So it's almost as if they spread the word that, hey, this lady can do this. You got to go talk to her. And so it's been a
Have
trip.
Oh, I bet. Have you had that experience? You know, and if you could share a story with us.
About just an animal showing up?
Yes, you know, you're communicating with one animal, and then another animal shows up, and it's like, hey, what about me?
Well, I'll tell you something. Every time I go out and run errands, if I have to go into, I don't know, a grocery store or something, as soon as I get out of my car, I'll hear dogs start to bark in different areas of the parking lot, and they're all yelling at me, over here, come and talk to me, over here, over here. And usually I don't, only because once you start, you could be there for the day. So I tell them today's my day off. Next time. However, if there's an animal who's in real distress in one of those vehicles in a parking lot, I will stay and offer them a Reiki session or offer them just some kind of comfort if that's what they're needing. So I don't turn my back to them completely. Like I said, if there's one who's in distress, then I'll absolutely stay and see what I can do to help.
Now, I have mentioned to you that, of course, I have a little 4-pound Yorkie that thinks that she is
She is the queen.
Chewbacca. Yes, yes, and she thinks I'm her man. On
Yep.
top of that,
Yep.
so as far as the canines and of course the equines, are cats also you're able to communicate with cats, and is there a difference between these three groups of animals as far as how they communicate? And because sometimes the cats seem to be a little bit not aloof, but more independent, I would say.
Well,
Not too
cats
many
are in a
cats show
they're in a category all
that
by
affection.
themselves. Yeah.
Yes,
Well, see, cats operate at a very high energy level, higher than dogs, higher than horses. And so because they're operating at a higher frequency, um, they have amazing healing abilities, and that accounts for their aloofness. Oftentimes they could be working on someone or another animal. And then once they've done their work, they need to go off by themselves and sort of regroup and let go of any energies that they may have been working on. Dogs tend to be more in your face. Their energy is, here I am, love me, um, being part of my family, that sort of thing. Horses kind of in the middle. Horses do some amazing healing work too. And I'm sure you're aware of the therapies that they do with the military, retired
yes,
military. And so
yes,
they are very in tune to humans' emotions and where they are standing with their feelings. And so that's why they're so good at that kind of work. So they do
yes,
operate a little bit differently. But all in all, it's basically the same thing. They want to help, they want to guide, they want to heal, they want to teach their lessons, which is why they've come into your life in the first place. They have lessons to offer, such as your girl, your little diva. She's
oh,
got a big energy for a little dog, and she's not afraid to throw her weight around either.
no, she's a bully.
I think she's adorable, but I'm partial to terriers, so,
Oh, so am I. That's a
yeah.
that's a it's a just I think the breeding is the breed of the terrier is a it's distinctive. You know.
It is, and it takes a special kind of person to be able to do a terrier, have a terrier, because if you're not up to the task, they could
Yeah.
run all over you. They are
Oh
very
yeah.
willful.
Correct. Correct. I wanted to mention to you about your thoughts about how animals, let's say the Native Americans and how they looked at animals,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to have a close relationship with the animals. You
Absolutely.
know, it was just more than a tool, let's say. It was almost like an extension of themselves. You
They
know, like
recognized animals as being sentient beings, not possessions. And that's where we, as a society, have largely failed, is that some people still see them as possessions and they don't see them as sentient beings with the ability to think and feel and have souls. And but the Indians, the Native Americans, recognized that immediately and respected that. And from that respect, there was a relationship that developed, um, that went through time, basically.
yes. I wanted to touch base on the health of animals, and I also, you brought up a point that society has looked at animals as a possession, and I've always told you, I think in the last interview, that as a culture, as mankind, let's say, we haven't done a good job with the care, with the advocacy of animals. We have done a very poor job. A lot of people will mention that we have done a poor job in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
We've even done a worse job with the animals. And when I say animals, I mean every single animal. Whether it's the fishermen that are out there who are fishing sharks and cutting off their fins and dumping them over the side, okay,
Yeah.
to those mules that you see out there just going in circles,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
grinding the stone, okay, or you know those type of things. A re- I saw an article where one of these horses that does they do tours, I guess in New York,
Mm-hmm.
completely collapsed
Mm-hmm.
and died right there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we got these laws, we got these things in place, and this is still happening, and it shouldn't be happening, but it happens.
It does
You
happen.
know.
Sadly, when I heard about that horse in New York, when I connected with it, he had a heart attack. He passed of a heart attack, just dropped. And that happens, and it's horrible to see. There's no explanation. Of course, everybody's panicked trying to figure out what happened. But the fact of the matter is they have heart attacks too.
Yes.
And, their hearts just gave out. And that's what happened to that poor horse in New York. So
It's
sad as it
unfortunate.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is,
Yeah.
and it should bring attention to that. We should
Mm-hmm.
have all eyes on that. And
Mm-hmm.
and of course, that I'm a horse racing fan. I probably
I
see the
know you
photo.
are.
You see the photo above my head here in my
Mm-hmm.
studio of a Secretariat at the Preakness. Making that
Secretariat.
famous
Yep.
turn.
Yep.
Yep. But in that industry, a lot of people, um, and they do have a right, and some have a point. The industry hasn't been good. Okay, um, it doesn't come to mind real quick, but there was a Derby horse winner that ended up being in a plate in Japan. Okay, he was
No.
slaughtered. Yes,
Oh.
yes, and that happened. There was a big wake up call, and those things shouldn't happen. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a huge black eye for the industry, But
Of course it is.
the industry also, there's a lot of people in that industry that take care of these animals, especially in the folks in the backstretch, whether it's the hard walkers, the grooms, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the exercise riders,
Mm-hmm.
they have such a huge impact on these athletes, okay, and these
Absolutely.
animals, and they
Absolutely.
have such a connection, a real close connection. A lot of these animals, you got to say what it is. Some of them it's an investment for some people. Okay, these animals get syndicated, so you have a bunch of owners. Okay, it's gotten to the point right now they're almost like a stock, like a stock.
Sure.
Okay,
It's a
and people are
commodity.
buying. Yes, and people are buying a piece of that animal. Okay, and it's crazy. I mean, it's nuts, but I mean, it's an industry that's giving some jobs to people out there who are, and I would rather see those animals in an environment like that than seeing them out there and getting slaughtered. Okay,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, and it's, I mean, they're a product of our creation. We created this, and now we got to make it work much better than what it's worked before.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed. And there are many, many horses in the horse industry, not just the racetrack, but the horse industry that once they're used up, end up on a kill truck.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah,
it's really sad. They've given their all in most cases. And
yes,
then, to be put on a truck for meat plant is it's heartbreaking.
It's disgusting. It shouldn't be happening. Not at this day
Agreed.
and age. We're in the 21st century.
I know. I know. You would think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I know that you're probably familiar with Old Friends, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which is the farm in Kentucky that takes care of retired thoroughbreds.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's a good home, and it's a good organization. There's many of them, and you mentioned the therapy uses for the horses, and
Yeah.
veterans. I was watching a special on a documentary on YouTube, and it concerned veterans who would there was a waiting list of these veterans to get on these programs, and what
Mm-hmm.
it was they would go in, they would meet a horse, and they would spend time with that horse. They would saddle the horse. They would get to know that horse, and then I believe there was a trek that they would take from one farm. They would have to push cattle to another state. It was it was a long trek, and it
Sure.
was a very physically demanding job. You know,
It is.
to steer these these um, these uh, these cows.
Yeah.
And it was
Long
very
hours in the
demanding.
saddle.
Yes, but at the end of the day, they would come out of there a completely different person. A
Sure.
completely different person. You know, and it was amazing. It was amazing to watch the transformation um, that would, these people would, in their journey, they would, when they were done, they went in broken and came out pretty much fixed.
Well, huge realization. You know what I mean? Huge realization. So, good for them, first of all, because it's not easy to do. And to have the commitment to do it, I think deserves some recognition too. So, and the end result is always a positive thing.
Yes, yes, and I've seen where these facilities use autistic kids or any,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
kids who are, and suddenly when they put them on a horse, they're completely different.
They come to life. They become
Yes,
different people, and all of a sudden they're talking or making noises, and they're moving their limbs, and they're smiling, and they're trying to. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to witness.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on? And I know that you do this for right now. You're helping a lot with nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you see with nutrition? And what do you see as have you communicated with an animal where they're saying nobody's listening? I'm not being heard.
They
Something's
have said that. They have said that. It's So I do something that I call a total wellness session. And in that session, we check for the wellness of your animal, any species, on a spiritual level, on a physical level, and on an emotional level. And for the physical level, 9 times out of 10, what comes up is diet. Um, and when I talk about diet, people initially have a hard time with that because they're so used to feeding a certain way or feeding a certain thing. But at the same time, their animal is showing signs of bad health, throwing up, not being able to eat anything, or turning their nose up, or losing their hair, or itchy skin, or I mean, the list goes on and on. So, changing the diet does so many good things for your animal from the inside out. And part of that total wellness session, we also discuss any herbal remedies that might be necessary. Let's say if we're cleaning out a liver, if the liver shows up for me as being full of toxins, well, let's talk about some milk thistle and adding milk thistle to the diet on a regular basis for a while to help support that liver towards optimal health. And so I'm pretty passionate about getting animals healed to the best of my ability, always with their guidance. They're always part of the conversation. I show them several things that come to mind for me and ask them, are any of these items something you'd be willing to work with or that your body would really appreciate right now. And so they help me narrow down the list of the items that they're willing to work with and get them healthier. And uh, I love getting the emails afterwards or the texts afterwards, which say, "You won't believe my animal. She's bouncing or he's bouncing and he's looking better and his eyes are brighter and his attitude has changed." And so all of that happens just by changing a diet to a healthier diet and one that's made specific for your animal. And so for me, the reward is seeing them healthier and seeing them lively and happier and more responsive. And that's my gratitude right there. I
Yep.
love that part.
Because I believe whether it's horses or any kind of animal, they put into the same category.
Mm-hmm.
They all put into the same box, and it's not fair because they're all in a way different personalities, the breeding.
Yep.
You'll see the difference between a Maltese and a Yorkshire Terrier.
Oh, absolutely.
You just see the big difference. One
Absolutely.
is assertive, confident, walking with its head up. The other one is, it's goes along, and
Mm-hmm.
it's people don't realize. I believe that people don't realize that these are working animals at one point.
Well, sure. Well, and when I'm talking with people about diets, I try to compare for them. How would you feel if you had to eat the same meal twice, sometimes 3 times a day, every day for years on end? What would your reaction be? You would get bored. Your body would stop gaining all the nourishment that it needs. And so our animals are the same way. And so keeping the diets with variety in mind and on a healthier version goes a long way towards the life of your animal.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Let's jump into the subject of I got some friends who and I discussed this before we went on live,
Right.
was the loss of an animal, okay, of a
Mm-hmm.
close animal. I've got some friends who have not recovered, um, have
Sure.
not that they haven't let go, but the pain is there. They're I
Guilt,
had
I'm sure,
somebody tell
too.
me,
Yeah.
yes, I had somebody tell me, listen, I lost both my parents. This hurts, if the same or more. And I at the end of the day, I believe because they're so dependent on us. Okay.
Well, not just that,
And
Willie. They love us unconditionally.
yes,
Very few humans love us unconditionally. And even parents sometimes. There are conditions to affection, there are conditions to love, there are conditions. Not with animals. Not with
yep,
animals. Even if you growl at them and snap at them or, you know, swat their bums or whatever, they forget about that and they're back to loving you unconditionally.
yep,
And so I think that's part of the reason why it hurts so much is because nothing has really loved us that unconditionally before. And so to lose that kind of love in your life on a daily basis can be very very difficult.
yes. Traumatic.
Traumatic. Oh my
Yep,
gosh, yeah. Some people I know have been depressed and have stayed depressed and I understand. For me, my animals are my children. I don't have two-legged children. I have four-legged children. And I can't imagine not having them in my life.
yes. I was
Yeah.
telling someone not too long ago, you're gonna get a look from your child. You're gonna get a certain look at one point in your life. You're gonna get the same look from your mother, and you're gonna get the same look from your dog, your animal. They're gonna give you the same look, and it's probably gonna go on longer for the animal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And because they just like you said, they don't put any conditions. I believe you told me one time, I had asked you previously, you had told me that it's very simple for the animals, very simple. They don't, it's not complicated.
Not at
You had
all.
told me it, that it's not complicated at all. I think we're complicated with our emotions, but animals are not. And
They don't
can
get
you
into
explain that a
this.
little bit?
Well, I was just going to say, animals don't get into the same conditions that we have been given and that we live in. They don't believe in manners. They don't believe in politeness. They don't believe in not saying what you don't mean. They don't believe in hiding anything. They are very direct. And honestly, Willie, that's part of the reason I love working with them, because they're so direct and they don't mince words. They don't lie. They're always honest.
They don't have an agenda.
Never have an agenda. Never have an agenda. And so, again, that's part of what I love about them the most, is that, none of that pretense is there from the get-go. It never is. So because of that, they're very patient with us because they've learned to be, because we as humans have to go through that process of, was I good? Was I bad? Should I have said that? Should I have not said that? Those things that we go through that we've been taught are good manners. And
Yes.
they are patient with us about that. They wait for us to go through the process. Once we've gone through it, then they're there to support us about the honesty of what has happened. And which includes looking at yourself, as difficult as that can be.
Yeah.
That's part of it too. And that's why they're there in your life, is to be a mirror for you and to support you through the changes and the growth that you need as a human being here on this earth.
True. Jailene, I'm going to go into a subject that's probably going to be a little tough.
Sure.
And it's going to be when we have to say goodbye. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article probably last year. You probably read it. You've also probably read it. And it was a survey, I believe, of veterinarians and nurses who said that the worst thing, the most heartbreaking thing that they've seen at a hospital was a dog, a cat that was in its last stages and was going to depart, and the owner stepped away and walked away. And I could understand that in some ways, because I've been in a situation where I saw somebody pass away,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a family member just leave because they were overwhelmed.
They couldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you how the thoughts of that animal are in that situation. Like we say, I think we all say we don't want to pass away alone.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And I think the most, we're their world, correct?
Yes.
Yes. We are their world, right?
Yes.
And how, from their perspective, how is it? How have you run into something like that where there is an animal that's telling you, I'm in the end, and I hope my loved one, the person that I love, knows it, or knows that I love them. That's been a difficult thing for me, because I look at Gizmo, and I say, what's going on in that little head? Does she know that how much I love her?
Oh, she does.
And not just by actions, not just because I feed her, not just because, does she know? Do they know?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's hard to communicate. I mean, we're doing eye contact. We're doing these subtle things. You know what I mean? And
it's not as difficult as you would think, because they operate, as I said earlier, from a place of love. And that is heart energy. So, and I've said to many people who have rescued animals and they're having a hard time connecting with the animal, to have a heart conversation with them. What I mean by that is for instance, the dog that I have now was a rescue, and the very first thing I did when I went to pick her up from the shelter was to straddle her across my chest so that her heart was over mine. And I just held her and stroked her and told her that I loved her, and she just melted. So That's a heart conversation. So, having those heart conversations, whether you say anything mentally or whether you say anything verbally, it's your heart energy and it's the heart conversation that they connect with most easily, most readily. So, for those people that have lost their animals recently and you're struggling, first of all, they don't hold any resentments or regrets if you were not there at the end. Some animals will wander outside and go out and hide somewhere and pass that way. So, and I know some animals. I'm thinking of a cat in particular who crawled underneath the bed, and mom hadn't seen her all day and went to look for her, and there she was under the bed, and she had passed. They don't want any interference. They don't want our need for them to stay to interfere with the fact that they know that it's their time. And so they're choosy about who's with them at the time that they leave this place. I feel very honored if they choose to be with me. And I've helped many animals cross and been with many animals, including clients' horses. When the clients were unable to do it, I did it. And just let me preface that by saying that as many times as I've done it, it never, ever gets easy. What I do instead is, and I suggest this to all the people that contact me looking for help with this, is to remember them for the many years that you had together, sharing a life, adventures, love, cuddles, laughs, walks on the beach, walks in the park. Remember those things. Don't remember them for the day that they left, because that's a dishonor to who they were. They want to be remembered for those many years of fun and love and happiness. They don't want to be remembered for the day of their passing. That's not who they were. That's just the end of this particular journey. But before the end, there was so much more. So honor them if you can by being with them. I have been with every single one of them that have come into my life. The animals love and appreciate the support at the end if you're willing to do it and able to do it. Again, if you can, it's okay. They don't hold it against you. They don't see that as any sort of bad thing at all. They understand. And so you do what you have to do, what you feel is the right thing to do. My choice has always been to be with them because they've been with me through
Hmm.
every step of their life. So I honor their memories by being with them and supporting them on the day that they leave. And I shared with you earlier, my cat Felix, my panther, I called him Panther Boy, um, left this place in March, and we were in my living room, and he was in the window, and he was holding his own, but I knew we were getting close.
Hmm.
And suddenly he just turned and he looked at me and he said, "Now, right now." So I said, "Okay." So I called the vet, and the vet said, "Bring him down." And I did, and he was ready. And he told me he was ready. And it was very clear. It was very kind of surprising. I was not expecting that as I was drinking my coffee that morning. But nonetheless, it happened. It took place. And so I honored his wishes and was with him. The vet, thankfully, let me stay with him. And well, actually, I didn't give her much choice, but
Yeah.
but anyways, do what you can for them. They don't hold it against you if you can't.
Yeah. It's I'm happy to see that a lot of these services are being offered now where they come to your home,
Yes.
okay? And they're not in a strange place.
Yes.
Okay, they're not I know one thing that I I I sympathize with Gizmo when I take her to her grooming
Oh boy.
because I know that she knows what I know that she knows where she's going. And then when I drop her off, she gives you that look like you're never coming back.
How dare you leave me here? Yeah.
Yes. And I know, when they don't groom them right away. They put them out back. They lock them in a cage. In a kennel thing, and basically she's there until she gets picked up. And I could see with that kind of almost in a way traumatizes them in a way probably. And
Well, see, with
mhm.
Gizmo, it's the fact that nobody asked her what she wanted. She's
Yep.
very strong-minded, strong-willed, and so she's definitely got a mind of her own and a voice of her own, and she wants to be asked. She wants to be asked to she wants to go to the groomers, and she wants to be asked by the groomer, if she could be done now and those sorts of things, and so she's feeling like she has had her, power taken away, and she hates that. She hates that. So,
Very
yeah.
controlling.
Well, she has a mind of her own, Willie, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I want to share something with you. When we first met, I showed you a photo of Gizmo
I remember.
because you told me, yeah, just show me a photo and I could tell you exactly what's going on. And you had told me she's very protective of the family. That's her purpose. And she doesn't want anybody else in the house, nor the dog. She wants to be it.
The one and only.
Yes, I have experienced this firsthand when my son brought, at the time, a girlfriend. She had dogs. Forget about it. She was fine with them outside. In the house, a completely different story.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I seen it 3 times where she just went for the neck.
Yeah,
It was
terrier.
awful.
Terrier. She
Went for
also
the
has
neck.
no idea how small she is. She thinks she's the
Yeah,
size of a Rottweiler.
4 pounds.
I know.
My brother has guinea pigs that are bigger than her. I seen wild rabbits run around my neighborhood that are bigger than her.
Yeah. Well, she
Okay,
has no idea. She thinks like,
she's got
again,
no idea.
she's a
It's like
big dog. Yeah,
it's like a friend of mine's Great Dane. What a beautiful dog
they
and
are.
intimidating. And but what I noticed was that I pet him on the head. He turned around and gave me his back. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me! He trusts me.
Yeah.
He does trust me." And I
Well, that's a
just
compliment to you, Willie.
yes, yes. I think it's because maybe Gizmo rubbed off on me or something. I do have a very spot. As I said, I have there's some subjects that are very very dear to me. This is
Mm,
one of them.
mm,
I think the other one is missing persons. Missing exploited children.
mm.
Um, to me, it's a huge problem. I've had several shows concerning that. And
Heartbreaking.
they're not easy to talk about.
No, they're not.
You know,
God bless you.
and oh yeah, so these things are very dear to me. Not that I'm a tree hugger and everything, but I respect animals. You got to, and if you can't respect animals, you're not respecting yourself.
Well, that's right. That's right. We're all connected. Everything is connected. And so if you're not respecting the animals, well, then there's a part of you not respecting yourself
Yep,
or others
exactly,
or the environment or, all of it.
exactly. It's the same thing. When I say about when I say animal welfare is it's specifically what we eat. Okay, I mean we're eating these animals. Okay, we shouldn't be mistreating them. Okay, we shouldn't be, and that's a problem. In the industry. Whether it's the chickens. And how
Yep.
people. You see these activists that go in with cameras into these facilities, and you see some horrendous things that shouldn't be
Terrible
happening.
things. Terrible things.
Terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
And it's and I just hope that they prosecute these people with everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
You
Oh,
know, with
yes. I
everything.
do. I do.
You have your people that are hoarders out there. With animals, and unfortunately, they think that they're helping, but they're not.
They're not.
They're not. So
Yeah.
So what do you? I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on 2026, and has it gotten a little better? Do you see that there's been a shift? I know there's more communication out there, whether it's social media. Okay, there's more awareness.
Absolutely.
Okay, when it comes to animal welfare, when it comes to nutrition for animals. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, I know that it's come a long way. Okay,
Yeah.
So let's say I'm a Generation Xer. So back in the day, it was those big bags of Alpo, and then
Oh,
and
yeah.
and and you open up a bag of that, and it looked like those lava rocks that you put on your
Yeah.
on your on your
Yeah.
those fire pits. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And
I
you would go,
do.
oh my god, that
Yep.
is just it's just like, oh, disgusting. Oh, you put
Hmm.
some water on there, it turns into gravy. You know, we we have come a long way. And your thoughts, where are we with this? You know what I mean? And where would you like to see it going?
Well, I feel encouraged because there are more states that have enacted laws um, for people who have abused animals that they serve time, that they're charged, they serve time, and not just months, but years, and are not allowed to ever own another animal ever again as long as they live. So, I mean, and some other places on the globe have enacted laws which recognize animals as sentient beings, and therefore, because they're sentient beings, you cannot kill them, even if it's for food. So, there have been strides. However, there are those that resist change and resist growth in that way. They're used to hunting and they don't want to give that up, or they still see animals as possessions and not beings with souls. And so, though we're making lots and lots of strides, you still have those that seem to be hanging on for dear life to the old ways. And so, I'm hopeful that they're gonna come along eventually too. And I think with the youngsters that are coming up, they're so much more open to what we're talking about than my generation, let's say, or maybe even your generation, Willie. So they're embracing the sentient being aspects of all living things wholeheartedly. And so that's
Yes.
for me very, very hopeful.
No, that's well said.
Thank you.
Very well said. I What are your thoughts? We're talking about animals here on land. I particularly have a thought on octopuses
Oh,
because of
interesting.
yeah. I mean, I've seen so many documentaries concerning octopuses and their and how they think, how they strategize, how they how they're able to solve a problem.
They're very
Okay.
intelligent.
Yes. And
Very intelligent.
it's gotten to the point where I couldn't find myself eating one.
I
Honestly,
know. I know.
because it's just like, it's like, I don't know. I mean, that's I've read some articles where they say that the octopus is so different. That particular type of I don't know if they fall into the mollusk uh,
Yep.
um, category,
Yep.
but they're highly intelligent.
Highly
And
intelligent.
how do you get an animal, let's say like the cuttlefish or the squid or the cuttlefish, who are they're colorblind, and how do they on their surroundings? How can they camouflage and color themselves to their
Be-
surroundings?
because they are so plugged into the environment. And that is part of their lesson to us, is that they are so plugged into their environment. They don't need to
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah. I was reading something that they're it's almost like they're alien. Like they're not from here. It's like they're so, maybe because we don't understand them enough. We haven't.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of these creatures, and I know the ocean. There's so many undiscovered um, species that are in the ocean. I think they've run into some of them right now because of these deep submersibles. These
Mm-hmm.
these underwater drones that are being able to go further under the depths of the ocean. Where
Mm-hmm.
there's no
Mm-hmm.
sunlight at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's they've even found sharks down there, which is
Oh, some of the
amazing.
things they've found are amazing.
Yep,
Some are
correct.
some
I
are
mean,
odd looking, but boy, they sure are amazing. To be able to survive and thrive down in there, that The
hostile
depths like
environment.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's
hostile
amazing.
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is amazing, and it goes to show us. I think it shows us of a creator. It's there's an intelligent design behind us. An intelligent design. Whether it's even I believe genetics doctors and scientists who are looking into the genetic code are finally realizing that it is a very complex code. They almost. I was watching something somewhere where it's almost like computer programming.
Mm-hmm.
The code, the genetic code is so in tune, so well written.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so it points to that. I never believed in that whole, it came from nothing. I mean, nothing comes from nothing.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, if you want to believe that, then go right ahead. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you'll buy some bridge that they're going to sell you to Alaska,
Yeah.
but again, I think, also we live in a complex world and we share it with a lot of these animals,
Well, the
and
operative word is share. We are not top of the food chain. As much as we like to think we are so not. And so I think it comes down to sharing once we realize that we're here to share this place, not dominate this place. Lots of things will change.
yes, here and where I live, I've encountered some deer, your occasional black bear. Okay, and
Oh,
yes, it's been pretty interesting. My brother-in-law sent me a video of his Ring camera. Probably the biggest black bear I've seen so far.
really?
Huge, up in Fitchburg,
Mm.
Massachusetts.
Did you get
He sent me this.
pictures?
He took a video. It was amazing. It's a 4K video, and it's impressive, And he leaves his garage door open, so I know that they could open doors.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they can move their paws and stuff and manipulate them like a raccoon. I mean, a raccoon is more dangerous, Raccoons
Mm-hmm.
almost have a hand,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're very, very smart. I mean, I believe that the bear is probably all nose. I mean,
Yeah.
the scent of smell is amazing.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah. I had one raid my bird feeder on my farm years ago. I heard this noise and I went and I looked out the slider into the backyard and he was spread eagle on the ground and the steel rod that the bird feeder was on was completely bent and on the ground and he was just gorging himself on the seeds of the bird feeder. So, there was nothing I could do at that point. It's like, okay, whatever.
oh no, and like you said it very well, Jolene. We're encroaching on their habitat. And there's so many people that I get. I kind of it ticks me off a bit because people don't realize this is their habitat.
I know.
This is their habitat. At the end of the day, it's their habitat.
Yes. People that build their
They just
houses out in the woods and then call the police because there's a bear in the yard. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen if you built
yeah,
this house out in the middle of the woods somewhere? I mean, come on.
yes, or coyotes, because that's a big thing around here. Coyotes.
Oh,
At
yeah.
times I've gone out to the deck and I could hear that it's almost like a laughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear I think it was a hyena, but I know it's the coyotes. They probably got something and they're excited
Mm-hmm.
and
Or
it's
they're getting
very
ready to
odd.
go hunting, one of the two.
Yes, yes. And when you're not used to some of those sounds, you're kind of like it's very odd. I will tell you this. Last year, I'm going to give you an example. My son says, "Do you hear that? There's somebody screaming." And I go, "Really?" He goes, "You hear it?" And I stopped and I could hear it. And I go, "I know what that is. That's a fox."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, it's a fox." And I stood out there and I caught it. It was a small fox, not an adult, but he was like a juvenile. And he would bark, and the bark sounds like a woman screaming.
Well, listen, have you ever heard a Fisher cat scream?
Yes.
Talk
Yes.
about a scream. Oh
Yes.
my word. Woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning one night as it was going through my yard, and he just decided for whatever reason to stop and keep screaming over and over and over again. So I sent him some Reiki energy, and he stopped screaming, and he eventually left. But oh my gosh, that noise just went right through me like
It's
somebody screaming.
it's terrifying.
Yeah.
If it catches you by surprise, it is terrifying. It really is. It really is. It's an impressive animal
You don't want to
because
mess
it
with
looks
it,
like a
that's for
Wolverine.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Wolverine. I mean, I think it's the northeast version probably of a Wolverine, correct?
Yep. Yep. You don't want
You
to mess
know?
with it, boy.
No, no, no. I think I advise some folks out there that probably bring their cats in because the cat's got no chance. My next door neighbor had a cat, Gemini. She was an outdoor cat, lived to be 22 or 23,
Mm-hmm.
and she stared down a fisher cat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
She was lucky.
that. Oh yeah, she was. She had more. She used up a lot of those lives.
Yeah.
Okay, she
Yeah.
used up a lot of them. In the same way, when she left, my neighbor was telling me that she was hiding under the bed. They would go get her, pick her up,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as that they lay her down, she immediately would go leave and go under the bed. And that was a big sign that she wanted to.
They're getting close.
Yeah, they're getting
Yeah.
close.
That's what
You
they
know.
do. That's so if you discover your animal is sleeping more, or a real tell is when they wake up from a nap and they sort of jerk themselves asleep. What they're doing is they're coming back into their bodies. They leave their bodies when they get to a certain point and start to explore the other side. And so they come back into their bodies in this dimension just to check on the body and to check on us and see how things are. So again, if you see them jerk, that's what's happening, and it's normal. It's not anything to be concerned about. It's just part of the process. But it definitely, as they get closer, those kinds of things happen more often and for longer periods of time, and they'll eat less, and don't worry about that. I know we have this thing about making sure that they eat 3 times a day or twice a day. They could care less when they get older and get close to the end. They don't
Yeah.
care. So
Would
don't
you?
force it.
Yeah. Do you? Would you? I don't want to compare like apples to apples, but is it something like when hospice? The people who are
Hmm?
in hospice,
Yeah.
they just stop eating.
Yeah.
They just stop. Like it's not important to them.
Yes.
And
They'll eat if they're hungry. They'll
yep,
drink if they're thirsty. So if you can, just let go of those. What's the word I'm looking for? Those things that we tell ourselves that they have to do. These habits, these
yes,
schedule things that
yes,
they don't care. They just don't care.
yes. hmm Events. I know that you probably have some
Yes,
upcoming events,
I
and I would
do.
like to
The
share
20.
them with the listening audience.
Sure, thank you, Willie. June 25th, I'm going to be on YouTube with Nate at The Third Wish. I visit his channel regularly, and we do animal readings. And then this August, I'm going to be at the World's Championship Horse Show in Louisville, Kentucky from the 22nd to the 29th. I consider it to be my vacation week, but I do readings there for people at the horse show or surrounding barns who might need help with their animals, not just horses, but sometimes I do dogs too. And that's coming up in August. So if you want to schedule an appointment for the horse show, you want me to stop by and talk to your horse or dog or cat or whatever you might have, email me at jailenefontaine@gmail.com, or go on to my website, jailene.org, and you can email me through my website as well. And I'll be happy to set up a time for you to talk to your animals. So I'm looking forward to it. If you've never been, it's a great show. It's so fun.
Well, it sounds terrific, especially in being in Kentucky because Kentucky is just horse country.
It's God's country for me. I just,
That too.
yeah. I don't want to leave when I go.
Well, let me tell you, when me and my brother went down there, we were just awestruck with, I was in Bourbon County, so going towards Paris,
Yep.
and it was just, as far as the eye could see, it was just rolling hills,
Beautiful.
green,
Green
just
fences. Oh,
and just watching these horses, just
yeah.
like herds of horses running around.
Are you planning a trip again soon?
I'd love to go down again. I'm probably going to be going to Tennessee. Yeah, I'm going to go to Tennessee and probably be in the Pigeon Forge area.
Nice area.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were going to make another trip to Claiborne Farm or
Oh, man.
Three
I'd
Chimneys.
love to. Yeah, Three Chimneys and, old friends. And go to the other ones too. I'm not sure if Camulet's open or anything like that, but I know a lot of these places. It's a tough competition. It's a different world.
It is. It
And it's
is.
completely different world, and it's very competitive.
Mhm.
And I believe also a lot of eyes are on the operations now
Oh, for sure.
because,
For
like
sure.
everything else, there's a lot of eyes in the racetracks now. There's a lot more things going on. When we don't live in the world that we did in the 70s and 80s. Everybody's got a camera on their phone.
Yeah.
There's surveillance everywhere. We live in a surveillance world, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so everything's scrutinized. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to animal welfare, I believe. But it should
Well,
be.
it should be. It needed to be. There was a lot of stuff happening
Yes.
behind the barn that shouldn't have been happening. So they had to clean it up and show a little transparency. And so for the horse's sake, I'm very glad of that.
Yeah. And most of all, show respect for the animal.
Yes.
At the end of the day, show respect for the animal.
Always.
Because he's only there for entertainment. I mean, they do it for oats and carrots and, it's, and like I said, it's an industry that's out there, thriving, not like it used to, because a lot of these places are just being looked down at, because they put themselves in a bad spot,
Yeah. Yep.
And, but, slowly, some things are, they're going to change like always, but the main thing is that hopefully, the federal government got involved and started, putting some procedures, some guidelines.
Some guidelines. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, some expectations and some, and probably, the most important thing is that if you got caught, you're going to get penalized. You're going to get prosecuted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which you should be.
You should be.
Which you should be.
You shouldn't have to cheat to win.
That's right. That's right. Jailene, thank you so much for being my guest, and it's been such a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's a great subject matter, and again, I still have encounters with birds.
Yeah, and their messages. Go ahead.
Not just regular birds, hawks, owls, bald eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my occasional run-in with a cardinal.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yes, 2 times I've had them. I had one fly right in front of me, right on my feet.
Wow.
Yeah. And I say to myself, what is going on? What is this?
Somebody's trying to get a message to you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm back doing this. Okay.
Good.
And I hope that's the message, that I'm doing this and that it's giving somebody some type of not only entertainment, but giving them some education.
Sure.
Well,
the
we're
birds
always learning.
The birds are there to support you, Willie. So,
yes. I believe it.
Yeah, they are. They are. And they're going to continue.
Yes. Yes. And again, I hope to share many of these conversations with you.
I would love it. Jailene. Always a pleasure.
Well, same here, and God bless you, and I hope to have you back on again.
Absolutely. Well, you take care of yourself and give that little girl of yours a big kiss.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, hon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks. I can still hear you.
Welcome to the Paradigm Matrix with your host, Willie Miranda. This has been the Paradigm Matrix hosted by Willie Miranda.